Good morning, children. Today, let's continue the chapter Nutrition in Animals from class. Nutrition in animals, we are going to study the human nutrition. You know, human nutrition is a unique process, and the type of nutrition in human being is holozoic. What is the meaning of holozoic nutrition? A nutrition in which the food materials are taken in through the mouth and digestion takes place inside the body of the organism. So the food is taken through the mouth and digestion takes place inside the body of the organism. So digestion completely takes place inside the body. Such a nutrition is called a holozoic nutrition. Only animals show this type of nutrition. So now you know what is holozoic nutrition and what type of nutrition does human take. Okay, that is holozoic nutrition. In holozoic nutrition, we can say again 5 steps. That one, first step, taking in food through the mouth. Second one is digestion. Then third one, absorption. Fourth one, assimilation. And last one is excretion. So as in the previous session, I am repeating that point. Human digestion or human nutrition takes place in 5 steps. Particularly first one, taking in food through the mouth, that is holozoic. Second one is, we can also say this one is ingestion, ingestion. The taking in food through the mouth is called ingestion. Then second one is digestion, third one is absorption, fourth is assimilation, and last step is excretion. Let's now come to the parts of human digestive system. The first part of human digestive system is mouth. Mouth contains teeth. You know what is the function of teeth? Teeth crush the food, tear the food and break down the food into simpler pieces. This process whereby the food cut the food, the teeth cut the food, tear the food and crush the food. This process together we call mastication. What is mastication? The cutting, tearing and breaking of the food into small pieces. We call it a mastication that takes place inside the mouth. In addition to the teeth, mouth has salivary glands. You know what is salivary gland? Salivary gland is a gland which produces saliva. Then what is the importance of saliva in the digestion of food? There are 2 functions of saliva. First one, saliva makes the food soft and slippery. Soft and slippery. Particularly saliva makes the food very soft. Second one, saliva contains an enzyme which break down the starch into sugar. So what is the function of the saliva? Saliva contains an enzyme that is very important for the breaking down of starch into sugar. So saliva has 2 functions. They make the food soft. Second one, saliva containing that enzyme. That enzyme break down the starch into sugar. So that is the function of saliva. Now the second, tongue. Tongue is another organ present in the mouth. What is the function of the tongue? Tongue particularly helps in the identification of or feeling of taste. Taste. So taste identified by tongue. Tongue has taste buds for this purpose. Taste buds for the purpose. These taste buds are uniformly distributed in our mother tongue, and they can identify 4 types of taste: salt, sour, bitter, and sweet. So what are the 4 types of taste the tongue can determine? Tongue can identify salt, sweet, sour, and bitter. You know, all parts of the tongue can identify all types of taste. Not a particular part of the tongue can identify particular taste, not like that. Earlier it was given in some books, but it is corrected that all parts of the tongue can identify all types of 4 types of taste. Okay, so tongue can identify 4 types of taste with the help of taste buds. Right. Now we are coming to the next part of the digestive system. Next one is what is called buccal cavity. Buccal cavity. After mouth is buccal cavity. So buccal cavity is somewhat long cavity-like structure. There is no function as such. Now the third part of the alimentary canal or human digestive system is pharynx. Pharynx is simply a cavity that you can simply feel when you keep your hands or fingers into the mouth. The back side of the mouth, there is a cavity that you will touch with your finger when you put the finger into the mouth. So you can say the pharynx is the cavity. This pharynx is so important that it contains 2 openings. We can say the first openings goes to the digestive tract or digestive canal, and the name of this opening is what we call food passage. Food passage, and the second one is seen just in front of this, that is called trachea. So pharynx have 2 openings. That openings, one opening goes to the digestive tract and second opening goes to the lungs. So here there is an organ that will stop the or block the respiratory tract, that is called epiglottis. What is epiglottis? Epiglottis is a fleshy flap-like structure which closes the respiratory opening when the food comes to the food pass or food tract. The food tract is called esophagus. What is esophagus? Esophagus is the food passage through which the food passes into the stomach. In order to pass the food into the esophagus, the respiratory opening should be closed. Otherwise, what will happen? The food may enter into the respiratory opening. This is closed by epiglottis. So what is the function of epiglottis? Epiglottis close the opening of the respiratory passage so that the food can easily pass through the food tract. That is called the alimentary canal. Okay? Now let's come to esophagus. When the food comes to the pharynx, involuntarily you will close your air passage with the help of epiglottis. Now the food will enter into the esophagus. The food goes to the esophagus. So what is esophagus? Esophagus is a long tube-like structure. Long tube-like structure. That long tube-like structure shows wave-like movements. Esophagus shows wave-like movement. This wave-like movement pushes the food into the stomach. Wave-like movement is called the peristaltic movement. peristaltic movement or peristalsis. So what is peristalsis? The wave-like movement of the esophagus so that the food will be swallowed without friction or without any stoppage. The food can easily pass, easily swallow through the esophagus. So esophagus has peristalsis or peristaltic movement. It is the wave-like movement through which the food will be pushed down or swallowed through the esophagus. Now the food reaches the stomach. Food reaches the stomach. Food is a muscular bag-like structure. Stomach is a muscular bag-like structure where the food is digested promptly. What type of digestion takes place in stomach? Stomach has glands. The wall of the stomach has glands. We call the glands gastric glands. Gastric glands. Gastric glands. Gastric glands secrete two types of substances. Actually, gastric glands secrete gastric juice. Gastric juice. Gastric juice contains two substances called HCl. HCl. Then we can say protein digesting enzymes. Digestive enzymes. HCl. What is the function of HCl? HCl break down. HCl kill the bacteria that enter the food. HCl kills bacteria that enter the digestive system or stomach through food. So what is the function of HCl? HCl hydrochloric acid, which kills the bacteria that enter the digestive system through food. Second, this HCl also convert the food into acidic. So what is the function of HCl? HCl kills the bacteria. Second, HCl change or convert the food into acidic. Right. Now, what is the next? Digestive enzyme. Digestive enzyme break down proteins. Digestive enzyme break down proteins into amino acids. And also the enzyme another enzyme digests starch into sugar, particularly glucose. So what are the digestive enzymes present in the digestive juices inside the stomach? They are protein digesting enzymes, where proteins are digested into amino acids. Starch is broken down into glucose. So what is the function of HCl? What are the two functions of HCl? HCl kills the bacteria and HCl also makes the food acidic. Now in the stomach, what happens next? Digestive enzymes. So inside of the stomach, digestive enzymes which break down proteins into amino acids and starch into glucose. So that's all what is happening inside the stomach. So what is happening inside the stomach? HCl break down or HCl kill the bacteria and HCl make the food acidic. Then what is the next? Enzymes digest protein and starch. So this type of food digested inside the stomach is called partially digested food, semi-digested food, semi-digested food. Now the food now enter into the small intestine. You can see the small intestine. Food now enter into the small intestine. So where we can see the small intestine? Just below the stomach. Stomach leads to small intestine. So the beginning of the small intestine has two parts. What are they? They are glands. What are the two glands? Liver and pancreas. Liver and pancreas are present at the entrance or at the entry of small intestine. So what are the functions of this liver? Liver breakdown. It is very interesting and we will be studying it in higher classes as well. So what is the function of liver? Liver breakdown the large fat into small fat globules. What is the function of liver? You know, liver is the largest gland in our body. Liver is the largest gland in our body. This liver secretes a fluid called bile juice. Bile juice. This bile juice break down fat globules. What is meaning of globule? Globules are spherical particles. That's all. So the bile juice break down fat globules into small particles or small globules. So first function of the bile juice is they break down the large fat globules into small fat globules called small particles. And second one, the bile juice convert acidic food into alkaline food. Bile juice convert acidic food into alkaline food. You know, the inside of the stomach, the food was made into acidic by HCl. Now when it comes to the small intestine, the acidic food is again converted back to alkaline food. So what are the two functions of the bile juice? First one, bile juice break down large fat globules into small fat particles. Second, bile juice make the acidic food into alkaline food. So you will be asked what are the functions of liver. What is the secretion of liver called? Liver secretion is called bile juice. And what are the functions of this juice? Break down fat globules into small globules. Second, the bile juice also convert the acidic food into alkaline food. Right. Now, pancreas. Pancreas is also present at the beginning of the small intestine. Pancreas is a very important gland. They secrete enzymes. These enzymes break down proteins as well as starch or carbohydrate. Starch is a carbohydrate. In our food, not only carbohydrate, not only starch is present as carbohydrate, but many other carbohydrates are present like cellulose, pectin, amylase, all are carbohydrate. So starch is also one of the carbohydrate, but it is the normal and most common type of carbohydrate. So what happened? Pancreatic juice break down proteins into amino acids. Then carbohydrate into glucose. Glucose is a sugar, simple sugar. So what are the functions of pancreas? What do pancreas secrete? Pancreas secrete an enzyme called pancreatic juice. And this pancreatic juice contain protein digesting enzymes as well as enzyme digesting carbohydrate like starch. So proteins break down the proteins are broken down into amino acids and the carbohydrates are broken down into glucose. It is interesting to note that pancreas is very powerful gland which not only secrete the enzyme but also they secrete hormones in our body that we will be studying in higher classes. So pancreas is over. Now we are coming to the small intestine. Small intestine is the largest part of the human digestive system or human alimentary canal. Small intestine. Inside the small intestine, the digestion of food is completed. So where the digestion of food is completed in our body? Yes, it is small intestine. So small intestine is the organ which is very long, even up to 5 to 6 meters. 5 to 6 meters in length. Organisms such as that we can say grass-eating animals like a cow, goat, buffalo, camel, and even human beings are also vegetarians. The human beings are omnivores. So both in omnivores and herbivores, the small intestine is very longer. This is to digest the carbohydrate like cellulose. So longer small intestine digests more carbohydrate easier. Now you know the reason why tiger and lion doesn't have a long small intestine. Yes, tiger and lion has very short small intestine because they do not eat grass. They eat flesh. So in such a flesh-eating animal, small intestine is very shorter. Only in the herbivores and omnivores, the small intestine is longer, even up to 5 to 6 meters in length. Let me come to the point. In small intestine, the digestion of food is totally completed. So what happens here? In small intestine, the complete proteins are broken down into amino acids. Then carbohydrates. I told you there are different forms of carbohydrate. What are they? Starch, pectin, even lignin, cellulose, amylase. All are called carbohydrates. All the carbohydrates are broken down into glucose. So why glucose is so important? Because glucose is the smallest, simplest sugar which can be readily being absorbed into our blood. So glucose is the smallest and the simplest form of sugar which can easily absorb into our blood, and also it can easily undergo respiration and releases energy in our body. So carbohydrates are completely broken down into glucose, right? Now the third one, fats. Fats or lipids. Fats or lipids. Do you know what are fats or lipids? Fats or lipids are non-polar solvents. Means they do not dissolve in water. They will only be dissolved in non-polar solvents such as different types of kerosene, petrol, and diesel. So we can say fat and lipids are broken down into what? Glycerol and fatty acids. Glycerol and fatty acids. So what is this? What are happening in small intestine? In small intestine there are 3 food molecules. Let me say protein, carbohydrates, fats or lipids. Proteins are completely broken down into amino acids Carbohydrates are totally broken down into glucose or simple sugar. Then fats or lipids are completely broken down into glycerol and fatty acids. So what are the end products of digestion of food in the small intestine? End product of digestion. It is the ultimate product formed after digestion. So what is that? Protein into amino acids, carbohydrates into glucose, fats into glycerol and fatty acids. These three amino acids, glucose, glycerol and fatty acids are now very small particles enough to be absorbed into our bloodstream. Through which organ the three molecules being absorbed? Through small intestine only. So small intestine is so important that it completes the digestion of food as well as it absorbs the digested food into the blood. Small intestine absorbs the digested food into the blood. How it happens? How the food is absorbed into the bloodstream? Yes, in small intestine or inner wall of the small intestine has lot of finger-like projections. You see, the inner wall of the small intestine has lot of finger-like projections. You can see the finger-like projections. These finger-like projections are called villi. Villus singular, villi plural. V-I-L-L-I, villi. So there are very small finger-like projections. These finger-like projections are called villi. Through the villi, the digested food is being absorbed into the blood. What are the digested food particles? Yes, amino acids, glucose, glycerol and fatty acids are the digested food particles which enter into the blood, human blood, through villi. So villi are organs of absorption of food into the body. So villi, how it looks like? Yes, it looks like a small finger-like appearance inside the small intestine. If you take the small intestine, doctors can easily be viewed or visible, and they will see that very minute microscope. It is not as big as our fingers. They are too small enough to see with our naked eyes. They are too small enough to see with our naked eye. Very small and can be seen only through a microscope. That much millions of villi now absorb the food. So villi is designed for that. Villi are designed for that. Villi is very thin. They show wave-like movements all the time. When the food comes, these wave-like movements of the villi trap the food particles in between. And the wall of the villi, single cell. It is richly supplied with the blood vessels and lot of points. More points we can refer the text and the villi. Okay? So the villi are mostly richly supplied with blood vessels, and they ultimately, the most importantly, we can say, villi increase the surface area for the absorption of the food. So which increase the surface area for the absorption of food? Yes, villi. Villi present inside the small intestine increase the surface area for the absorption of the food, right? So in small intestine, three things happen. Can you tell me? First one, we can say digestion of food is completed inside the small intestine. What are the products of digestion of food? Amino acids, then glucose, glycerol and fatty acids. Next point, villi increase the surface area for the absorption of the food. Villi increase the surface area for the absorption of food. That is very important, because the food which we eat get digested in the digestive system, and maximum nutrients, maximum molecules should be absorbed into the blood. Otherwise, there is of no use of taking more food. And nutritive food. So whatever the food we take, the nutrients get dissolved and get entered into our blood through villi. So villi present in the small intestine is of great importance. We will be studying details in 10th class. Right, we are coming to the next part. The next part of human digestive system is large intestine. Large intestine. You know, large intestine, it is very interesting that large intestine is only a small area where very little functions can happen. But what is the function of small intestine? Yes, in the large intestine, two functions we can say. Most of the water inside the food is absorbed into the blood through large intestine. First one, large intestine control or absorb the water present inside the food. And second, large intestine can regulate certain certain minerals. So mainly we can say the water mainly absorbed into the body through large intestine. At the end, the food which is not being digested will be undigested waste. That will be collected in the rectum. So at the end of this digestive system, there is rectum. Rectum is the end part of this digestive system in which the undigested food is being collected. We call it fecus. Fecus. What is fecus? Fecus is the undigested waste that is being collected and stored in the rectum for time being. And at the last, there is an organ which is called anus. Anus is the opening of the rectum through which the food is expelled or removed. So for controlling the opening of the anus, there is a muscle called the sphincter muscle. Sphincter, sphincter muscles. These sphincter muscles control the waste material getting expelled or removed from our body. So these are the major parts of human digestive system. Now let's come to the last part of the chapter, that is ruminant animals. What are ruminant animals? Animals like goat, camel, horses, cow, buffalo. Have you observed their nutrition ever? Yes. These animals are called ruminant animals because in their body there is a special mechanism whereby the grasses get broken down or digested in 2 or 3 steps. For example, a goat or cow initially take up or eat up the grass, and this grass partially being digested in the mouth goes to the stomach and again come to the mouth for the second or third chew. Such animals in which the grasses are chewed or digested in 2 or 3 steps are called ruminant animals. They are also called cud chewing animal. Cud chewing animal. Why are they called cud chewing animals? Yes, the partially digested food that comes to the mouth again. From the stomach, the food will come to the mouth. Again, get crushed or chewed inside the mouth. That food coming to the mouth again is called cud, CUD. The cud is a partially digested vegetarian or grasses. Comes to the mouth for digestion again and again. Such animals which bring the food into their mouth are called cud chewing animals. Now, these animals, there is a special organ inside the stomach. The stomach has 4 parts, 4 chambers. Unlike other animals, the stomach of these ruminants, we call ruminants, the animals which digest the grasses or food in 2 or 3 steps, or such animals which do the cud chewing, we call it ruminant animals. In their stomach there are 4 chambers. You will study the name of the chambers in higher classes. Let me tell you one of the chamber, rumen, RUMEN. One of the chamber is called a rumen. The food from the mouth will come to the rumen, get partially digested there, and again goes to the mouth for another chewing. Understood? Then again come to the rumen. Again goes to the mouth. So rumen is the first chamber of the stomach in which the food is partially digested, and the rumen now send the food to the mouth where the food is again chewed and make the food into, make the grass, even tough grasses, into simple grasses or simple fragments. In this way, the presence of rumen in the stomach helping the digestion of the food. Hence, such animals are also called the ruminant animals. So why are they called the ruminant animals? Because the stomach contains a chamber. Out of 4 chambers, 1 chamber is called a rumen. This chamber can digest the food effectively and send the food into the mouth. This rumen send the food into the mouth. So it goes to the mouth, again comes to the rumen, again goes to the mouth, again comes to the rumen, till the food is completely digested, till the food is, for grass is completely, totally digested. This is a very important adaptation for ruminant animal. That's why they survive. Even they can digest even tough or dried grasses in this rumen. So this is a survival advantage of ruminant animal. That's all today. Thank you.